Carol Howe, and I'm back with lesson number 4. This one says, these thoughts don't mean anything. The other ones were about the forms that we look at don't mean anything. So now it's switching gears a little bit to say these thoughts don't mean anything. So this lesson, and like the others, is to be done just for a minute or two, 3 or 4 times a day. This is a very light, loose practicing. Everybody's got 4 minutes they can devote to something, so it doesn't want to apply any pressure at this point. So this approach is going to be a little different because instead of having you first look at forms, it wants you to notice instead the parade of thoughts that randomly run through your mind. And as always, don't try to select anything and do not exclude anything. And you will notice as you just watch, it's like this wild mixture of things. Some thoughts you will consider good, some bad, some happy, some not. Some you think are calming, some upsetting, some are about giving, some are about getting, some are judgmental. You can be worries, your to-do list, a lot about what someone else is doing and why they should or shouldn't be doing that way. So anyway, just notice all of these. Don't do anything about including or excluding. Mostly just notice how they jump around. Sometimes our untrained mind is referred to as the monkey mind, because you know how monkeys are. They swing, they jump, they leap, they wander from one tree to the next. There's not anything about their behavior you would call orderly. The same with our thoughts. Now, the reason why this is an exercise and why both what we consider good and bad thoughts are all lumped together is it says it's blocking real thoughts. Now, stop right there. Don't try to figure out what real thoughts are. We're just going to be content with the notion that there's something much better available to us, much more meaningful, much happier, much more profound that our current thoughts are blocking. So this is the very first step in training us to separate out what's meaningful and what's meaningless, which says you don't really have any grounds for making that distinction. But obviously, the author of this material does. So what you want to do in your short little practice periods is just notice these thoughts and then say, this thought about, and then list anything that happens to be going through your mind doesn't mean anything. Like the forms that I've looked at, like the things that I see, these thoughts don't mean anything. Now, it might possibly occur to you, if you've had experience in this field, that it's tying together the things we see, the forms don't mean anything, our thoughts don't mean anything, and the reason it ties them together is because we think our thoughts are one thing and forms are another. They are actually a seamless whole. So if one is meaningless, the other is meaningless. If one is meaningful, the other is meaningful. Okay, now your judgment about this is going to be very, very loud. And it's going to be all distressed, saying, absolutely, some of my thoughts are very good and some are very bad. Just watch the judgment, set it over in a corner, let it yammer away, but don't engage with it. The other reason for doing this just a short period of time is that we tend to get preoccupied. Let's say, for instance, that one of the thoughts that you notice in your minute of practicing is, oh my gosh, I think I forgot to pay the electric bill. There could be this tendency to wander off here. My electric bill is so high. And besides, I'm really upset about the way electricity is created in the first place. We really need to get rid of coal and go to solar or power. That would be a much better way. And what's the matter with people who get in the way of that? And on and on and on and on down the rabbit hole, so to speak. So we don't want any of that going off on a tangent to occur. So just watch. Just be in that observer place where you're watching all the things that randomly run through your mind. And judgment will be loud, and you won't do this very well, But that's okay. Practice anyway. Remember, you don't have to practice what you already know how to do. When we all learned to walk, we stumbled and fell a lot. Babies don't have any trouble with this. They just keep getting back up, falling back down, getting back up, falling back down, and sooner or later they're able to walk. Well, we need to do the same way. We need to have that same open-hearted approach to learning a new skill. So sooner or later, we'll be able to be much more attentive to just watching what these thoughts are and not going off on a tangent someplace. So, once again, this exercise is these thoughts, as they are randomly going by, don't mean anything. They don't mean anything more than the forms I see. Alrighty, have a good practice today.